Yes, good afternoon. I'm really glad to see so many people here, especially after the events of last night, and I'm sure many of you didn't sleep. There is a visual presentation in your folder if you want to follow along. I won't stick to it exactly, but it may be helpful. I'm David Mitchell, and prescription drugs are keeping me alive. 7.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with an incurable blood cancer. Incurable, but treatable with very expensive drugs. Several days ago, I spent 5 hours getting infusion with a two-drug combination that every time they give it to me, the retail price is $20,000. I'll get it 22 times over the course of a year, so sitting before you, $440,000 worth of drugs that are sustaining my life. Now, I'm very grateful to our science and research community for these drugs. As importantly, because my disease is smart and it mutates to find its way around drugs, I need new ones. So I am completely dependent on innovation and new drugs for my survival. It's not theoretical for me. It's life and death, literally. But drugs don't work if people can't afford them. That is a fundamental fact. My experience as a patient brought me face to face with this fact. So my wife, who's a breast cancer survivor herself, and I decided to launch Patients for Affordable Drugs to raise the patient voice for reform of our system. We are the only national patient organization focused exclusively on policies to lower drug prices. And to maintain our independence, we don't accept money from any organizations that profit from the development and distribution of prescription drugs. So we can speak without fear or favor, and I intend to do that here today. We are about patients, first, last, and always. In 5 months, we've collected 7,500 patient stories and 15,000 email addresses. These are stories of patients who are skipping doses. They're cutting their pills in half. There are people with type 1 diabetes who are trying to control their blood sugar with diet and exercise and waiting until their blood sugar spikes before they take their insulin. These are people with rheumatoid arthritis who are living with pain because they can't afford to take the whole dose required to manage their disease. These stories know no regions, they know no gender, no age, or political affiliation. People in this country, patients in this country, are hurting, and they're angry, and they don't understand how this could be happening to them in the United States of America. So I have 3 points I'd like to make to you this morning. First, patients really are crying out for relief. It's a real problem. People are hurting. They need help now. 10% of patients with my disease stop taking their drugs because they're too expensive. 2, support for action is bipartisan among voters and in this Congress. 3, there's bipartisan legislation that could move now aimed at preventing abuses by drug companies that delay generics from coming to market. Chairman Waxman referenced REMS. This is risk evaluation and management strategies that companies use. It's a safety program. They hide behind it to say they won't make samples available to generic manufacturers in order for the generic company to develop a bioequivalent. The act is called the CREATES Act. I'm happy to get into more details about that bill and how it would help patients like me and thousands of others. There were hearings on the CREATES Act yesterday in the House Judiciary Committee. It's sponsored by Representatives Marino and Cicilline and by Senators Grassley, Lee, Leahy, Klobuchar, among others. This is viable legislation. It's not a complete solution to the problem of high drug prices, far from it, but it is an important step in a good direction. In the end, we're going to need more comprehensive systemic reform like Chairman Waxman was referring to, and we have a complete set of policy solutions and proposals on our website that you're welcome to go look at if you care to. There's a lot of finger-pointing about this issue. We're hearing some of it today. We're about to hear more. I want to point out that all the big players on this stage are doing just fine. The pricing system today works at the expense of patients, consumers, and taxpayers. So I say this to you as a patient. Many of you who are here in this room today work in this Congress. You are in a position to help right now on a bipartisan basis. And that is so important because in my lifetime, the most enduring legislative achievements have come with bipartisan support. And you can make that happen and help patients right now, starting today.